Hey guys, I am Dr. Arusha Campbell-Chambers, dermatologist, speaker, and author of the best-selling book Laugh, Love, Glow, a guide to choosing joy, loving yourself, and caring for your skin. Today, I'm going to talk about social joy destroyers, okay, and how we can overcome those. Now, I want to read you a clip from an article in the Jamaica Observer on January, written on January 22nd, January 10th, 2022, by Petulia Lawrence. It says, in the last recorded statistical report on divorce from the Chief Justice, the number of petitions for dissolution of marriage, which were filed in the Easter term of 2021 at Kingston and Western Regional Supreme Court registries combined, increased by 50.97% when compared to the Easter term of 2020, the year before. Okay? So that is petitions for persons to dissolve their marriage increased here in Jamaica by 50% between 2020 and 2021. We're now in 2022. I don't know what those figures look like. But this is just an example to show us that where social joy destroyers are concerned, things seem to be getting from bad to worse. Okay. And as we know, there's a lot going on in our lives and in our societies that can try to steal our joy. And we're, at times when we had to lockdowns and so on, we're forced to spend time with those that we live with. And for some, that was a good thing. And for others, that turned out to be a bad thing for them because there are many different issues that came up, whether or not they were under the surface and just rose to the surface, or whether or not it's new issues. And so we need keys. And this is just one example. Relationships don't just pertain to marriage, but relationships include relationships between children and parents, relationships at work, relationships at church, relationships in your societies, and so on. And if I would just use, let us say, marital relationships for an example, okay? There's a lot. I would always advocate for having God in the center of that covenant. It's a covenant between you, your spouse, and God. Okay. And when you have Him at the center, it helps. That doesn't mean to say we don't have persons who have great relationships with God, have difficult relationships with their spouse. All right. And if you need that help to help you improve your relationships, get that help you need. If you are in an abusive situation, and I'm talking a lot of times, I know abuse can go both ways, but a lot of times women are the victims and girls the victims of abuse, right, in the home. And abuse is never okay. That's not what God had in mind when He said that you should submit to your husband. You're not submitted. You're submitted unto the Lord, okay? Not unto abuse. So I would encourage you not to stay in an abusive relationship. All right. And that's a whole other topic. But we have to be aware of even the little things that would tend to come socially between us that would want to rob us of our joy. We need to be quick to listen, slow to anger. All right. And slow to speak. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say it. There is so much power in our tongue. We can either bring life or death. Okay, we are encouraging Ephesians, let no corrupt word, no filthy words come out of your mouth. Always think, what is going to be the impact of my words onto my spouse or my child or whoever? Am I edifying or am I pulling down? When things happen to you, find a way to balance the positives and the negatives. Okay. So when you approach that person, look at the positives, but also find a tactful way to bring out the negative in that situation, and how you can work towards making that into a positive, improving it, working on it, whatever it is. Get to know your partner's love language, okay? Because you maybe think you're killing it, you know, showing them love in one way when that's not the way they perceive it. And so they feel like you don't really love them. And this perception of not being loved has led to a lot of divorce unnecessarily, just because they're not hablaing the same language. You know, there is a disconnect, you know. So I want, and if I would elaborate a bit more on love languages, that concept was introduced by Gary Chapman, the author of the book on the 5 love languages, where he speaks about quality time, words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, and acts of service as the 5 main ways that we give and receive love. And so see yourself as there to serve the other person. And so if you want to make your relationships blossom, spend time in trying to figure out, do the test, go online, you know, go to a therapist, whatever you need to do, and find out about your spouse. How can you best serve them? How can you best show them love? Even when you don't feel like doing it, even when, you know, that's not the way you would naturally communicate. So love is a decision. It's not just some airy fairy emotion that would, you know, be up and down. Love is, we see in 1 Corinthians 13, you read all about what love is. It's patient, it's kind, it doesn't boast, it's not puffed up, it's, you know, and so on. So I would encourage you to overcome your social joy destroyers. Put that work into your relationships. Even if you messed up, dust yourself off and try again. We can't do it in our own strength because God knows our flesh leaves much to be desired, right? But God can give you that grace to have that agape love to one another, even when the other person may not deserve it, and forgive one another, be tender hearted to one another. Okay. So I encourage you guys to put some work into your relationships, whether you're married, whether you're single, no matter what situation you find yourself in, and refuse to destroy your joy. Have a wonderful day.